Hello from the city of London. I am coming at you with a midnight podcast. Well, it is not actually midnight just yet, but it's like 11:33 specifically, so we're nearly there. But I just wanted to talk about ideas because there is always, oh my god, sorry, my foot just like went numb. You know what, when that happens, what's it called? Like ants in your feet. Like there's a saying, but you know when your foot just feels like numb. I think it's because I was sitting down for so long. Not with my legs crossed, but what's it called when you sit on your legs? I don't know how do you describe that? Anyways, that is completely irrelevant to the topic of conversation, but I just felt the numbness and it hit me, so I had to explain that. But let's get back on track. I hope that was entertaining. My point was ideas. My brain is always jumbling and bouncing with different thoughts, and often it stops me from sleeping well. But I also think it's a great blessing, not even a blessing in disguise, just a blessing, and I'm very grateful for my very thoughtful and stimulated brain, because there's just so much I want to do in life, and I often have so many ideas, and I literally have brainstorming sessions with myself, you know. It's just so fun. And I think though the struggle with it is that sometimes I get overwhelmed, or not overwhelmed, but I find that there's so many things I want to do, projects I want to undertake and implement, people I want to speak to, initiatives I want to introduce, so on and so forth. You get the gist. And because of that, sometimes it hinders me from being able to start or to put any of those things into action effectively. Or I guess taking a step-by-step approach, you know, because there's just so much and I want to do, and I attempt to be that efficient girl and balance it all. But sometimes I have to accept the fact that ultimately I can't do everything, you know. As much as I would like to be able to do everything, quality over quantity is quite crucial, I guess, in this sense. I think there are some cases where quantity over quality is applicable. For example, when when perfectionism stops you from starting something and you just need to like go for it, like just start, you know. In that case, quantity over quality is definitely something I consider. But in like longer term and growth wise, I mean, I don't know, maybe you could argue that quantity is more important. Depends on the situation, doesn't it? But I was saying, ideas. I literally at work today, I spoke with someone, and then they sparked an idea in my brain, or something they said sparked an idea. And then I had a gym class. I did a step class today. It was basically like this box where you step on and off, and it was actually really cool because the instructor made a whole routine out of it, and honestly I was sweating by the end of it. That might be like the third or second most class that I've sweated from ever since starting gym studio classes. The other one was probably like that boxing class I did one Saturday. Oof, that was tough. I think that's like the second most intense class at Frame hit class. But I'll be honest with you, I'm scared to try the most intense hit class. I'm not scared, but I guess I'm hesitant. But you know what, this is me challenging myself to go try that class. You know, now that I've said it, I have to like just gotta do it, you know, leave my comfort zone, try it, why not? But anyways, you see, this is me with another idea, going off track again. I was actually talking to one of my colleagues about this and how we lose our trail of thought. But I think it's the perks of a creative mind, you know. Some might say it's unorganized, but others would interpret it as just cool because you have a lot to jump off of. But essentially, I think creativity is the craziest and coolest thing, because being able to explore different ideas is so important in life. Like, I'm sure that again, this podcast is always just me improvising, and I'm just talking. I'm literally not basing this off a script or anything. I'm just talking at the top of my head from a random desire I had to record this podcast. But I was saying, see, it happened again. No, but I was saying, like, I had to stop and re-listen to what I said. But ideation is significant. It can contribute to some of the world's greatest innovations. Like, what's something that's quite freaking cool to me? I find, something I've been recently getting interested in is fintech, right? I'm learning more about it. I attended an event to explore it, and the idea of fintech as opposed to traditional banking. Fintech came from somewhere. Someone, like, businesses like Revolut, people had this idea, and I'm sure that some part of it, some idea that contributed to creating the actual business came from some sort of random thought that someone had, whether it was like in the shower, and I don't know, but that's why people say, like, I'm pretty sure there's studies on it. You could look it up. I've definitely seen one before, but going on walks or like whether it's like gymming and not consuming some sort of content like a podcast, or essentially letting your mind think freely is very valuable in ideation, because your mind essentially just chills, and it thinks about what it knows, and it comes up with some cool freaking ideas that you can utilize to create value in life. And I think creating value is very important. Also some value in terms of making the world a better place, like what charities do, what non-profit organizations do. All of that stems from ideation, and people who are trying to use their creativity for the better. But I think another really important factor to consider in innovation and ideas is feedback and alternative perspective, because brainstorming with other people, I honestly love brainstorming sessions, like just literally having some sort of workshop where I just discuss ideas with people is a definition of fun to me. Like, if we were to sit in a room and I told you about an idea I had, and then I ask for you, like, be fully honest, what do you think? How can I make this better? What can we do? What have you done before based on your experience that you think would help make this idea better, or so on and so forth. Hearing the thoughts of people is very helpful, because everyone has a different background, everyone has a different upbringing, everyone has different skills, a different set of knowledge and expertise, different interests, different experiences that shape their schema, and inevitably helps provide their own unique thoughts, which will in some shape or form generate an input that you can use. You can choose to leave what someone recommends you in terms of contributing to your idea, or you can actually take it forward. It might be helpful to you, you know what I mean? So I think listening to different ideas and hearing feedback is important, but also, like I said, the option to leave it is definitely an option, because there's that saying that you should only take advice from people whose advice you would actually take, or whose lifestyle you think is a good one, something along those lines. But I feel like you can always take something from someone, and that may be the mere fact of choosing not to take on what they recommend or what they suggest, because even that is important, like learning to hear an idea and not necessarily conform to it. I used to be like more of a people pleaser, and learning to say no, learning to contradict has been a great lesson. I think challenging ideas is also a really good skill to have, being able to say, well, actually, what if we did this? Or building off of that, I think we could do this instead, or just proposing some sort of alteration is always, it's honestly, if you're like in a job, or maybe you're like in an assessment center or trying to impress like a recruiter, I think that's quite an attractive thing to do as a candidate. But obviously be considerate as well, and like show that you're acknowledging another person's idea, like, oh, like, I like where you're coming from with this, or I get your idea on ... But yeah, there's so much to ideation, and I think that's why when I say that hearing perspective is important, I think that leads on to the idea of exposure. Exposure is so important, and I think whenever you put yourself in a new environment, it's really important to learn from those around you, learn about what is happening. Reading the news even is crucial to being aware, and also aware of how you can link whatever you're doing to what is happening around you and help the world in that sense. Like, if you know what's happening in the world and you have a spontaneous idea of some sort of NGO that you can initiate to, or like even just a little volunteering project. I say little, but it's not little. I think any volunteering project that is doing good is incredibly, like, its benefit is huge. So yeah, but reading the news and knowing what's happening around you can lead to doing those things which essentially help the world become a better place. So in summary, be curious, ask questions, learn, expose yourself, read, educate yourself, think, let yourself think, ponder. Literally put your phone away and just trap yourself in a room and think. Do nothing but think. Before my classes recently, I think I said this in an earlier episode, but I have been beginning to just, because there's lockers where you put your bags, so I just lock my stuff away after I get changed and ready for the class, and I sit and I observe and I think. I reflect on my day at work, or whether it was a weekend, I reflect on my day, what I've done, and give myself that moment to ponder, to wonder, to do whatever my brain wants to do. Think about anything. So unleash your creative potential, and I hope that this midnight episode gave you some sort of serotonin. Have a lovely night ahead, whatever time it is for you. Think of your 3 G's. What were the 3 good things in your day today? Let me say mine. I think a cool idea that I had, which inspired this podcast. And I guess this podcast is another one, filming this episode. I meant this episode, sorry. But my last one would probably be that... Okay, listen, I'm the type of person who loves people. I'm a very people-orientated individual. And I have this concept of friend crushes. When there's someone who I find so awesome and they just sound like a really cool person to get to know and to be friends with, I call it like a friend crush. Because you know how a romantic crush is someone you're interested in romantically, you want to be more than friends. Well, a friend crush is that idea, but in a non-romantic form, where you just want to be friends with someone, you want to hang out with them, hear about their life. So I have had a friend crush and I decided to reach out to them and be like, hey, I'd love to grab a coffee. So I'm proud of myself because I reached out to that person and they responded interested. So hopefully we can hang out, and this is your sign to go for it and reach out to your friend crush, because the worst that could happen is that they say no. Like, no, I don't want to get a coffee with you. Okay, their loss, who cares? That is not them being open to opportunities and not exposing themselves. So yeah, But rightfully so. If like you think the person has bad vibes, okay, sure, stay away. But you there's no harm in trying. So those are my 3 Gs. I'd love to hear yours. Please share with me, and have a great evening. Bonne nuit.